Hi guys, it's Dr. Sal from DrSecrets.com. Thank you so much for joining in. Today we're going to take a look at foods to avoid if you have acid reflux or GERD or dyspepsia or indigestion or whatever you want to call it. One of the big secrets about reflux disease and heartburn is that you can control it by controlling what you eat. Up to yesterday, I saw a patient in my office who I used to have on a PPI, a proton pump inhibitor, or antacid, a method of artificially squelching the stomach's acid production. And he related to me that by simply cutting out citrus, which we're going to talk about here, he's been able to come off his tablet. He used to have a large glass of orange juice every day, which is supposed to be healthy for you, but in this case, obviously, his stomach didn't like it too much. So without further ado, let's jump to the anatomy board. And I call these foods the criminal 7. So let's start with criminal number 1. They all begin with the letter C. So the first one is coffee, and I'm guilty of this one myself. Coffee tends to promote production of acid in the stomach. It's also an acidic molecule itself. So that is one of the most common causes of heartburn and reflux affliction. So cross that one off the list first. Coffee. The next big one is chocolate in all forms, whether it's chocolate ice cream, hot cocoa, hot chocolate, chocolate bars, chocolate cake, chocolate cocoa. All forms of chocolate equal bad for your stomach. And part of the reason for that is they have a chemical called, theobromine, I think it is, which is very similar to caffeine. So it's a secretagogue. It increases the amount of acid your stomach belches out. And in addition to that, it also has some chemical in it that relaxes the little sphincter, the valve on top of the stomach that prevents stuff from ejecting back up your esophagus, your swallow pipe. So for those 2 strikes, chocolate is out. If you have a bad stomach. Otherwise, enjoy. Lucky you. All right, next big miscreant is colas and energy drinks. Obviously, for the same reason as coffee, they're very high in caffeine. But to add insult to injury, most of these drinks also have a lot of acid moieties. So they use carbonic acid in colas. Colas in particular are like the worst out of the group. They also have phosphoric acid, and I think maybe sulfuric acid, but don't quote me on that. Point is, it's a very acidic drink. So if you're looking for a way to rip up your insides, this is the route to it. So colas, energy drinks, out if you've got a bad stomach. Next criminal is all forms of alcohol cocktails. So whether it's beer, vodka, rum, whatever your poison is, if it burns your mouth and it burns your tongue, it will burn your stomach when it gets down there. So for that reason, all forms of alcohol, if you got a bad stomach, sensitive stomach, weak stomach, they're out. Next up is citrus. Now this one's a little tricky because normally you would figure, well, citrus is one of the rainbow foods, it should be good for me. But not if you have a bad stomach. So that would be citrus in all forms. So whether it's grapefruit, limes, lemons, oranges, orange juice, lemonade, all forms. And I also included tomatoes in here, even though it's not citrus, but tomatoes are also very acidic too. So you need to watch out for the citrus family. They're not actually your friend if you've got a bad stomach. Then there's spices. If you like Indian food, Thai food, Mexican food, all those type of international type foods that are full of spices, you need to avoid those like the plague if you've got a bad stomach. They'll rip your insides apart. So for that reason, keep off the curry and spices. Now the last one is actually not a food at all, but I include it here. That would be cigarettes, cigars, and all those other types of filthy habits. They work by a slightly different method. When you drag on a cigar or cigarette, all that nasty soot doesn't just go and sit in your lungs. You also swallow some of it that ends up on the back of your palate and back of your throat. So as you swallow, that's going down into your stomach and acts as an irritant in there, same way that it acts as an irritant inside your lungs. In fact, people who smoke are much more prone to also developing stomach ulcers. So just one more reason again why you should try to quit if you haven't already. So here's a typical student's meal, and I want to see how many offenders you could point out here in this meal. So they're having a pizza, they're staying up late, so they're also having a cola here. And again, just because it says 0 calorie, that still doesn't mean it's your friend. It's not. You still got a whole bunch of caffeine in it, and phosphoric acid and a bunch of other acid. So don't be asinine, stay off that. Then here in the pizza, there's pepperoni, which is full of spices. There's tomato sauce on it, which again is acidic. So for these reasons, this meal here would be verboten for somebody with a bad stomach. If you eat this meal, you are guaranteed to suffer that night. So that ladies and gentlemen, is foods to avoid if you have a sensitive stomach, weak stomach, acidic stomach, reflux stomach, heartburn stomach, whatever you want to call it. If you are judicious and try to restrict those foods out of your diet, in many cases you can avoid having to be on medication. And in fact, I have another patient who was surprised to develop a duodenal ulcer so severe that they actually had to have surgery. And when I inquired on his diet, he related to me that he drinks a full 2-liter pet bottle of Pepsi every single day of his life, and he was surprised he had an ulcer. So anyway, I'll leave you with that little cautionary tale. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so I can keep you informed of new videos as they arise. So stay well, and I'll see you soon.
Thanks for watching. Get notified of new videos. Subscribe now.